containing 6 eggs. There are 6 people in a room with a basket containing 6 eggs. Each person took 1 egg. There are 6 persons in a room with a basket containing 6 eggs. Each person took 1 egg. And at the end of the day, 1 more egg was left. One did not take. Somebody say, 1 did not take. But the question is that each person took 1. So that becomes an assumption that 1 did not take. You understand? It becomes an assumption, and sometimes conflict arises basically as a result of what? Assumption. Sometimes things that we assume are real may not just be real. That could be as a result of why we have crisis. But let's come back. How is it that we still have 1 egg left in the basket? Huh? Maybe there is a conflict somewhere. 6 persons, 1 person took 1 egg, and we have 1 egg left in the basket. But the question is that everybody took 1 egg. Or maybe 1 is a spiritual egg. 1 drop is in the bag. After taking it, he got angry, didn't like the egg, Abi. Okay, he took it and dropped it. So we have 1 more egg left in the basket. That's the miracle in the church. But the egg in the basket was like the church. All right, I like the idea, I like the engagement. Now, but let me break it down. Sorry? Only 1 egg was in the basket. Only 1 egg? Oh, it was only 1 that was there before. It wasn't 6. But the information given is that there are 6 there. And each person took 1 egg. So I am saying this to lay a foundation of the fact that sometimes we over-assume things that could lead us to crisis. But let's bring it down home. I am from this part of the country. I'm an Ishekirima. You can see my mark. Abi? Growing up in those days, we used to eat as a community. What I mean as a community is that a family of 6 will eat together. So it was a game of survival of the fittest. When you mold the eba, the one with the big pass, you swallow it once. You know, and we were happy eating that way, isn't it? But there was a significant thing that happens then, is that after the meal, we share the protein. Either the fish or the meat. But another significant thing is that it is the eldest child that shares the protein. But for equity to reign, you may say the next person should share it. But one thing was clear in my days, my younger sister was sharing. But when she shared it, 2 will be equal. You'll be the same size. Is that equity? That's not equity. The senior one should be bigger, Abi. Yes. So we will fight. But at least somebody will take 1. But one key thing that happens as well is that after the meal, somebody will tidy up the plates. Somebody will pack the plates and take it to go and wash, isn't it? Oftentimes it's the last person. Now, the first person took his meat or fish. The second person took his or her own. The third person took his or her own. The last person took her own or his own. But it's the last person that carries the plate to go and clean, isn't it? Now, there was the last egg in the basket. How? Does that open our mind to some logic now? Yes. So how is it that there was the last egg in the basket?
So the last person is supposed to clear the plate.
The last person that is supposed to clear the plate carried the plate as well as what? The fish. So the last person took the basket as well as what? The egg. And the egg is still in the basket. Can we clap for him, please?
All six.
Took 1 egg each. So the first person took his egg and put it in his pocket. The question is not the position of the egg, it's the ownership of the egg. The first person took his own, put it in his pocket. The second one took his own and eat it. The third one took his own and put it in the fridge. The fourth one took his own and kept somewhere. And the other person is the last person, is the one carrying the basket, is the one carrying the plate. He took the basket as well as the egg. The egg is still in the basket, but the egg belonged to what? So that debate is what I want to get out defile logic sometimes. Because sometimes you say, why are they fighting? But this is simple now. So it is that debate I wanted to generate with the puzzle, that it is actually debatable. This point could be logical, it may be right, it may not be right, depending on where you sit or where you stand. These are the causes of conflict around the world. And the truth about life is that you only sit where you stand and stand where you sit. If I'm going to be sitting, I'm going to sit here. If you are going to stand there, you are going to stand right there, isn't it? So if we understand that we are peculiar in our own space, we will have less crisis. And that is where the peace advocate comes in. Now, this is a picture of conflicts, particularly post-electoral conflicts. Election result has been declared, and somebody has been declared winner, and maybe other people we are not lucky to win. And this is sometimes what you see. What you see in that picture, do you think it will bring development? This is a big skyscraper, it will rather burn down skyscrapers. I'm not going to pray, I'm not going to pray. This is a picture of what we see when we engage in it is me that is right, it is you that is right, and nobody is wrong. The point is that in life, there are points where you can be wrong, and there are points where you can be what? Right. So let me ask a question. Is conflict a good thing?
Yes. It's part of life.
It's part of life. Don't depend on where you stand.
But you cannot erase it.
So chaos is a way.
Bit of life.
Am I right to say conflict is a way to progress? Sometimes, another time, no. So you must understand how to take advantage of it. That's why we are discussing here as peace advocates. That peace advocates must know that we cannot eradicate crisis. But what are our role in crisis? We cannot have a society where 2 or 3 are gathered and you not have misunderstanding. It is impossible. As a matter of fact, the day you are going to have such society, then the legal profession will be eradicated. Lawyers. And lawyers don't have private crisis bill. Because if there is no crisis, what job do they have to do? So crisis on its own or conflict on its own is not totally bad. But what role do we have to play to take advantage of prevailing crisis? Truth is that electoral cycle in Nigeria is always coming with its own peculiar crisis. Each cycle, we have different type of crisis. Either give birth to a better future or a worse future. But depending on what we have done as a people with the crisis. I said there are elections over the years in Africa and particularly in Nigeria has been a do or die affair. It is a system by which people go all out to secure electoral advantage over others, thereby engaging in anything and everything that could see them winning at all costs. Unfortunately, that is who we are. We just want to win. But we don't always have to win. We don't always have to win. If you have an idea and you lose the election, you can also contribute to the development of your society. Why do you want political power? Is to contribute progressively to your society, isn't it? Is to contribute to your community. So either you are in office or you are not in office, you can contribute meaningfully to the development of your people. So why do we have to kill ourselves? Because we want to get to office. If we don't kill everybody finish, who do we rule? Who do we govern? Who do we work on? Who do we provide the leadership for? Nobody. So we must be careful when we engage in this do or die affair. As the 2023 election draws closer, we cannot be unmindful of the fact that conflict would abound pre, during, and post the election. Campaign is starting now. By next week, Wednesday, campaign will have been, the ban will have been lifted on presidency and House of Reps and Senate. And I think by October 12th, we'll be lifting the ban for governorship and the other field. Now, as we engage in this campaign, conflict will arise. Why will conflict arise? Because people will come with different opinions, different understanding, different belief system, different thinking. And it's allowed. We are human beings. We are not expected to think the same way. Our ideology will be different. But in this different ideology, we are all working towards achieving the same goal, the development of our people. I'm in APC, I'm in PDP, I'm in ABGA, I'm in Labour Party. Ideological difference. But with all the ideological difference, why are we engaging in all this space? Because we want to ensure that our people is or are developed. Now, I was just giving 20 minutes, so I will not follow the slide word for word. I'll speak to the slide other than following the slide word for word. But I said at this point, therefore, it is important to know that peace is one of the vital factors contributing to quality life. And so, we must be mindful of the quality life we lead. A peaceful environment plays a significant role in the development of an individual, of the society and country at large, since it affects all aspects of economic and social life. I'm sure some of us here live in this town, in this city, Warri. Pre the Warri crisis, you could understand what the city was like. The city was a very buoyant city with a very active nightlife. People drive around in the night. You enjoy your life in the city. The city was seen as a dangerous city around the world, but when you come to Warri, Warri was the most peaceful place pre that crisis. But when the crisis broke out and we went through that, Warri almost became a graveyard without nightlife because everybody is scared, isn't it? That is what crisis can bring. But how are we been able to take advantage of that and leverage on the learnings from the crisis and move on as a people? Because we must move on as a people. So my presentation here is going to be focusing on the role of peace advocates in ensuring that we have peaceful environment. The importance of unity, peace, and security. I'll be looking at how peace and security is quite important to us. History generally is littered with issue of crisis among humanity. If you read the Bible, there are crises. If you are the one that reads Quran, there are crises. As a matter of fact, if you read the Bible very well, there are places where the Bible actually encourages war. Abi, it says pursue, overtake, and what? What are you recovering? What they took from you, Abi? So how will you recover them? You'll kill the people now. Is that not crisis? But is it good? If it favors you, it's good. If it doesn't favor you, it's what? Because when you pursue and recover, the person you are recovering from is losing. Because the person at Itato collected from you. It was the winner then. But you are running to recover. So history is full of crisis. History is also full of peaceful environment. History is also full of peaceful advocates, consciously or unconsciously. In every crisis in history, there are people that will come and mediate. There are people that will come and say it is okay. There are people that will come and say let us not go into battle. Those are peace advocates. Those are people that whether they are doing it consciously as an organized group like this or they are doing it individually in their capacity, they are advocating for what? Peace. So you don't necessarily need to be inducted into this fold before you can perform as a peace advocate. Everybody has the responsibility to operate as peace advocates. I am trying to look at people that can operate as peace advocates here. I said peace advocates are persons that work collectively as well as individually to ensure that society is safe for human inhabitation. They work individually, they work collectively for the purpose of ensuring that society is safe for mankind to live in. Because if society is not safe for us to live in, this place that we call home will not be we will not be able to inhabit this place. So we must work towards peace. Why conflict has its advantage, peace has so much advantages. No society can develop without peace. Because conflict destroys, peace peace build, isn't it? So as a matter of fact, peace advocates have a responsibility of building society. Peace advocates have a responsibility of building a nation. If I become the president today, I'll put the responsibility of building this country on the hands of peace advocates. Because when we have peace, we can develop. Without peace, we cannot develop a country. Have you seen any country in war that is developed? Not even one. Ask Ukraine, they will tell you well. Ukraine have a better example and current example to give. So we must engage in ensuring that we promote peace. And who are those guys that should promote peace? Politicians and government officials. My question now is, are politicians promoting peace? Dicky, you are a politician, are you not promoting peace? Me too, I'm a politician, I'm promoting peace. Do you know why? If I don't promote peace, who will vote for me? Because I need the people to vote for me, so I'll need the environment to be peaceful, so that these people can go and what? Vote. The way to win an election is not by carrying ballot paper, no. It is by people voting. So if the environment is not peaceful, how will they vote for me? How will they vote for Tiki? They will not. So politicians properly are the first, when you talk about the hierarchy of peace advocates, they are the ones that are supposed to be propagating peace. But when politicians are seen to be promoting inequity, that is where you now see the boomerang, the other side of the coin that becomes conflict. But when politicians promote equity, what will happen? There will be what? Peace. But when they start promoting inequality, inequity, and all that, it creates a system of what? Crisis. People that write are major stakeholder in peace advocacy. Writers, the modern ones, the social media rats. They are supposed to be promoting peace with their activities on the social media. But they are also promoting war with their activities on the social media. So but it means that if you can promote peace, you can also promote war. So depending on what instrument you decide to use, do you want to use the power that you have to promote peace, or you want to use the power that you have to promote what? Conflicts. So writers come top in promoting peace. Journalists as well, educators, people that teach in school, because they can speak to the mind of the children. As a matter of fact, when a lie is told for 100 years, it takes the possibility of truth. For instance, every day I go to school and tell my the children in class, that land belongs to your papa, or they take it from your papa hand. Every day you keep saying that thing. And the truth is that it's a lie. That land is not your father's own. But because they are telling you every day that that land is your father's own, you will die for that land. Because over years it has entered into your brain that that land is your father's own, you were cheated out of it. You will do everything to recover it. And you go ahead and say, if I don't get this thing, my children will get it. So you drum the same lie in the next generation. They will drum it in the next generation. That is why it is key that peace advocates must be careful with what they say. Peace advocates must also understand information before passing information across. Because if you dispense wrong information, you are not going to be propagating peace, rather you are going to be propagating what? Conflict. The wrong information may favor you at that moment, but the boomerang conflict may be bigger or larger than you. So you want to ensure that you get properly fed information before you ventilate with religious leaders, community organizers and leaders, social workers, business people, environmental activists, mental health professionals, artists and musicians, volunteer, non-profit organizers, and the one I like, housewives. How do housewives promote peace? Can housewives actually promote peace? You know just that they get power pass. Oh, they are the MD chief executive. Okay, but why is this place not capturing house husband? House husband doesn't promote peace. Huh? There is no house husband, have you? Okay. Okay, so I agree with that. There is no house husband. May God not allow us become house husband. Because when you become house husband, not good again. It's a crisis. As a matter of fact, becoming a house husband is a conflict on its own. No matter what the woman does, you will never be satisfied. No matter the money she brings home, instead of you to acknowledge her that she's bringing money, you say she's proud. Because I don't get work, have you? You say you want to eat more, she bring chicken. For you to be satisfied, say that chicken tastes how much of. You go dey proud because you feel that you get the money. You never reach quarrel now. He just wants you to enjoy yourself, isn't it? But it creates more crisis when you become a house husband. So we will not be house husband. So peace advocate therefore plays very vital role in ensuring unity, peace, and security in the following ways, amongst others. 1. Peace advocates must ensure conflict prevention. We must ensure that we work hard to prevent conflict. We say conflict is not all bad, but we must prevent the happenings of conflict in our society. We must work consciously and deliberately to prevent conflict. So there is no doubt that nation states have the primary responsibility to promote and maintain peace and security, and should do so by mobilizing concerned efforts to prevent the outbreak of violent conflict. However, given the nature of the current peace and security landscape in our polity, the myriad tasks relating to conflict prevention are too important to be left to government alone. There is a compelling need to allow multiple stakeholders, which is, in this case, peace advocates, to work in ensuring that we prevent conflict. Don't allow it to snowball into conflict. Arrest it at the point of the beginning. Because when you allow it to snowball into conflict, you will not be doing what is called conflict management as a peace advocate. So peace advocate must live a life, look at it, lead, and living a life that will prevent conflict at all times. My chairman here was talking about compromise this morning. Peace advocate must compromise where necessary to prevent conflicts. The truth is that no one man is going to get everything in this world. As a matter of fact, if God bless you, give you everything in this world, will you be able to live in this world? You die. So give out some. Compromise. Let the other person have some. Let the other group have some. Let the other system have some. And you have some. I think that will make the world a better place for us all. But when we want everything for ourselves alone, it may just become too much. So compromise is a key way of ensuring that we prevent conflict. Also, ensuring that we prevent conflict is to be equitable. You can't say you are preventing conflict and you are not equitable. You say, my brother, I will support my brother. If my brother wrong or not, I will support him. But in this case, it is clear that your brother is wrong. So let me ask a question. Your father has trained you very well, actually borrowed money to train you. You went to school, graduated, and you came to work in the same place he's working. He actually helped you to get the job. But because you are not a graduate, you became your father's oga. Of course, it's allowed, isn't it? Should your father resign? No, he should still be working. And something happened in the office. There's something got missing in the office. And they now set up a committee to investigate. You were now made the chairman of the investigation panel. And you go to your father's house and you saw that that thing that was stolen or missing in the office is in your father's house. What will you do? What are you going to do? Real conflict. Okay. You are the chairman of the committee. You should return it at one place. You are investigating. The item was found in his house.
Is that the item?
Oh, is that the item? Equity is coming in now. You can see equity is coming in now. You can see sentiment and emotion coming in. If we are able to tame our emotion, we'll be able ability to reduce crisis substantially. Because sometimes we are moved by our emotion. My papa, I don't implicate my papa. Eh? Oh, you will resign. But the investigation will continue. Resign doesn't stop investigation.
That's the job of the lawyer. To defend the undefendable.
But you are a peace advocate, not a lawyer. Alright. So we must engage in conflict prevention. If you cannot prevent conflict, everybody know that you are okay. We have the story of Solomon that decided to say, let us share this baby into two. If he had not done that, maybe he would have given the baby to the wrong mother, isn't it? Or the wrong person. But when he said, let's share it into two, the real mother said, God forbid, leave my pikin, leave my good aside. And he was able to judge and say, okay, this is the real mother. So if we cannot prevent conflict and snowball into conflict, let's properly ensure that we manage it. Let's engage in peace support orientation. What is peace support orientation? You see small area. I think Mr. Chairman also said something about that. These less privileged people, when you support them, what are you doing? You are building peace. Because when you don't support these people that you think are less privileged, when they decide to carry gun or stick, you will be their first target. As a matter of fact, you are stealing everything that belongs to them. That's what it means. No mind an thief is money by that guy car. So you must support them to ensure that you are giving them peaceful orientation. Make them feel belonging. Make them feel that they are also human beings like you. And one key area that we must engage in as peace advocates is this drug abuse and trafficking in our schools among the youths. You think you are ignoring them. You think it not concern you. The truth is that the boomerang will concern you. The act may not concern you, but the boomerang may concern you. You may not know the person, but the person becomes mad as a result of drug use and come to your compound. It never concerns you. So we must try as much as possible as peace advocates to call these children, talk to their emotion, talk to their conscience, talk to their mind, speak to their soul. You cannot force people to change, but people embrace changes willingly when their soul is spoken to. Talk to them, engage them, organize small conference by the side. I think our MC said something here that peace advocate is not just about we meeting as a group, but it's about us going to do the work in the field. Go to the field, go to the society, engage these boys in school, these children in school. Tell them that they are actually killing themselves. Let them understand that what they are doing is dangerous. Sometimes they may not even know. Because they say that they high, happy, and they feel good. So instead of being high, this thing is actually making them low. But they don't know. So our responsibility as peace advocate is to tell them this, because if we don't tell them this, they become willing tool in the hands of politicians in election. And those will now become the instrument that politicians will now use 2023. But when we have less of those people in the society, you now create scarcity for politicians to have raw materials. And when the raw materials are not available, which stock are they going to leverage on to carry out their trades? It's not there. The black woman will cook and you want to cook a goosey soup and a goosey is not available. Will you be able to cook a goosey soup? No. So but when these boys are available there, the boys becomes willing tool. And it's easy to use them because they need money to buy these drugs. So a politician is coming and promising them 200 naira and they know that they can buy it. What are they waiting for? They will take the offer. Why? Because you are not filling the gap as a peace advocate. You've left the space open. And this word, God did not make space for, how they put that in this word now? Void. God did not make room for voidity, for vacuum. So if you let it open, these politicians will come, take advantage of it, fill in the gap, and that is what you see playing out in elections in Nigeria. And finally, street violence and delinquency. We call it cultism activities today on our streets. You see these boys killing themselves. You see these boys fighting, guns, weapons, and all that. Sometimes sympathize with them because they don't even know what they are doing. They don't know. They are working based on the availability of information that they have. What contrary information do they have? None. Because the peace advocates are not filling that void. They are not giving them another information that becomes a superior information. Because they are just on the island of what they know. That is where they are. And they can't go beyond what they know, what they have been told. They've been told that they are strong boys, that they get the town. Who reach there for the town? But can somebody tell them another story? Can somebody storify their life? Can somebody tell them who they are and how beautiful life will be without this? I've heard so much in Delta State say school has come. School has come. You see this election? We will change our school of scam. This state must progress. This state and every other state in Nigeria, but this one is my own. This state must progress. I'm not going to politicize this presentation, and I'm not intending to do that. But the fact is that we cannot allow our forthcoming generation to go waste. And that is what we are doing. When we allow these children to engage in drugs, when we allow these children to engage in cultist activities or delinquent activities, we are actually wasting our next generation. Our parents didn't do that to us. Why are we being wicked to the next generation? I think this is gross wickedness. It is gross wickedness. Peace advocates, I'm calling on us today not to join the generation to be wicked to the next generation. We are being wicked to these children by not advocating, by not telling them the way of peace, by allowing them to go on the wrong way, by allowing them to go on the fast lane. And for those of us that read Bible, there's a column, there's a section that I like. It says, narrow is the way that leads to heaven, Abi? Yes. And what happens to the way that leads to destruction? So when you see these children on the broad way, they are actually heading steadily and consciously to destruction. And when it ends to destruction, our society is what? Destroyed. And conclusively, there is no doubt that nation states have the primary responsibility to promote and maintain peace and security, and should do so by mobilizing concerned effort to prevent the outbreak of violent conflict. However, given the nature of the current peace and security landscape in our polity, that's not the slide I'm looking for. Let me go to the last slide, please. Conclusion. The 2023 election cycle is already here. Campaigns are about to fully commence, and political players are gearing up to engage the process fully. And we know that this is usually a tense and conflict-prone season in Nigeria. And so I call on all peace advocates to also engage the unity, peace, and security process to ensure that the society will be peaceful and safe for all to go about their collective and individual electoral business in 2023. It is our responsibility. If you have taken the oath of membership of peace advocates, you have actually sworn to create peace in your immediate environment. You don't need to be the one to provide peace in the whole Nigeria. But you see that your small compound, that your small house, if it is peaceful, my own is peaceful, your own is peaceful, his own is peaceful, our own is peaceful, the collective effect is that we are going to have what? A peaceful Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to call us with this clarion call. Let us make our community, let us make our home, let us make our immediate environment peaceful, and the world will become a better place for us all. I thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
Actually gave him 20 minutes, but we didn't know when it took off. I was even blown away myself. Thank you so very much, sir. I'm so grateful, sir. Yes, we'll take questions. Please, thank you so very much. Please, a round of applause to him for that wonderful, awesome presentation. So much teaching there. So much. One of the things that got to me is this contribution to peace by just a minute. We called it peace support orientation. Peace support orientation. I recently went to my village. I run an NGO called Value Reorientation. Recently, I went to my village and I started reorienting the youth. And And the past 3 weeks, I've been having wonderful testimony. You know, this teaching just led me to share this. Yesterday, one of those boys in court, called me and said he has moved to Port Harcourt now and is learning to become a trailer driver. Right? That's one of the boys that was disturbing them before in the village. Right? So I told them that you are just a stubborn boy and you are wasting your stubbornness. Use your stubbornness to hustle for your family and your future. He has left court in the village now and has gone to Port Harcourt to learn trailer driving. And he said, you inspired me. Just 1 year in the village, training. I thought you would clap. I'm not clap for me now. That's what I did in my community as a peace advocate. Another one told me yesterday again, and he said, I'm tired of cultism stubbornness. That's what he told me on the phone. I am tired of cultism stubbornness. That's what he told me. Even though he cannot resign, I said, you can resign. You can resign. He said, if I want to resign, I need to leave this village. But he said, I am tired. So we need to go back to our communities and contribute towards peace by teaching them and reorienting them. Thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful teaching. Please, do we have questions? I will take 3 questions only. 3 questions. 1. Question number 2. 2. Anybody from the IT book? No? So those are 2 questions. 2 questions that we're taking. 2. Okay, 3. You are the first person. You are number 1.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sirs. The President and all duty protocols observed. My name is Ambassador Matthew. I was privileged to be here today, and I so much love what we spoke of when we are talking of drugs today. When you see around us, you see many of these youth. Many of them, they are into drugs. So I want to appreciate you, sir, for that topic. Mine is, yes, sir. Mine is, I have an uncle that is into drug. Now, we have talked, we have prayed, we have counseled, we have fasted, all to no avail. The more you talk, the more it goes. In that aspect, sir, what is the next thing to do? God bless you.
Okay, please, not the questions, sir. Let's take the 3 questions and then you give answers one after the other. Question number 2.
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Reverend Ambassador Roland Ohodwe. The question I want to quickly ask is this. As peace advocate, at what point do we call on this body in resolving conflicts in our locality? Because we have different levels of conflict. In a community where boys are fighting, killing one another because of land issues, you agree with me that individually we cannot handle such issues. So at what point do we involve this body and how do we do that? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think our international director will also contribute to that question. At what point do we call the body of International World Peace Advocate to intervene in conflict situations in our communities?
Good afternoon. My name is Diki Ambassador. Take care of pronouncing that. An ambassador. Yeah, my question is this. My father's land was deceptively taken by somebody. And I took the person to court. Is that the right way of making peace? Good. That is one question. Then at the end, the issue that I took to court, when I know fully that that land belongs to my father, and at the court level, because of maybe the negligence of the lawyer, the land, the case was given to the person that doesn't hold the land. Can there be peace in that land?
Okay, so you took the case to court.
Yes.
And then the court decided
For the wrong person.
in favor of the wrong person. What do you do? I think our international director spoke to this earlier on, but you will emphasize. Please go ahead, sir.
Wow, brilliant questions. So let me take the first question that talks about the uncle that is into drug and everything has been done, prayers, fasting, counseling, maybe flogging, not flogger. Everything had been done to no avail. Now, that is why we have people that are trained to handle certain cases. I would personally recommend that you seek the services of professionals. There are people that are trained for this purpose. You see, God answers prayers, but God also gives people knowledge to become doctors, isn't it? So your wife not be born, you say, God, I pray, make you born. You need doctor at that time. So in the case of Onkusa, I would recommend that seek the services of professionals. Seek the services of people that understand what to do. Because this thing would have gotten deep into his system. It's become an addict. So something that you are addicted to is not by talk. It's not by, okay, I'll leave this thing, and this is the key. It's actually happy dying. Yes, it's happy dying that way. Yes, one thing must kill a man. Now this one, they like her. You know, so, but when you seek a professional, they know how to go about it technically, stage by stage. Uncle is not going to stop drug overnight. Uncle is going to stop drug in sequence. Professionals know those stages. They know how to bring the first stage, the second stage, to whatever stage it may be, but eventually, Uncle will reduce the intake of drug and eventually stop taking drug and will now go for the final stage, in my view. I'm not a professional here now. In my view, rehabilitation. Because it needs to be rehabilitated and return back to society. Uncle is far from society now. All these things that they talk, it doesn't make any sense to her. Maybe you see some spiritual people who follow, they do the thing. You know, so please, seek the services of professionals. Don't force him. You can't force an addict to stop the behavior, no. But understand what to do and how to do what to do and when to do what to do. I'm sure that will help a great deal. Does that answer the question, Elitu, sir? Brilliant. And number two, at what point do we involve this body in a crisis in my community? Thank God our international director is here, so he's going to be talking about the points for which we bring in this body. But generally speaking, in conflict management and conflict resolution, it also comes in stages. There are areas that you cannot handle individually. There are areas you need people to handle. There are areas you also need pressure group. Truth is that our society, we are becoming too far from our people. We live amongst our people, but we are actually not with our people. The day you get small money, go build a house, one big fence. Massive fence, your car is tinted. You drive out and drive in, you think that's how they respect you. You are actually losing your people, that's what it means. But the society where we are one, I grew up in the society in this town where my mother is not the woman that actually gave birth to me, it's other women around. We didn't have uncle growing up. Everybody was your father. Because he could see you going, he would discipline you. So you are conscious of the fact that somebody could see you. But now, your father is only your biological father now. So I think we are becoming too far from the society. So you can recruit people, maybe this group, to intervene where necessary, or you can also include specialized groupings in the area of interest for which you want to address. For instance, you want to address communal clashes or land issues, because those are major things in the community. The elders knows the story. If they don't want to lie, they know the real story. Can you go back to them? Let's hear from them. Not just what my father told me. My father said I didn't get the land. But does my father actually prove, does he have proof to the land? Or he assumed what his own father told him? His own father told him, so he's telling you. But can we enlist the services of our elders in the community? People that still know the story in the past. Can they come and talk to us about the topography of this place? The land system, who owns what? Not that my father conquered your father, so we kill them, now we take the land. The children will grow and collect the land back from you. But if we are equitable and we are sound in our judgments, we can enlist people that understand the complexity of the case in question to actually address it. I think that will bring a little succor to us. And I will hand over the mic to our international director before I take the last question to look at what time do you enlist this group.
Thank you, my man. No, every of your names starts with E. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Actually, let me illustrate with a case that happened in Abia State. There was a land dispute between one family and the other. So one of them there was a peace advocate. So he engaged the two community that he wanted to bring a group. So they accepted to come. So when we went there, they entertained us, they brought their cola. So one of them went to an elderly man. After that case, I think the man died 3 weeks after. Went to the city. Papa, I adjure you in the name of Jesus Christ. As an elderly man, tell me the truth. Is my father the owner of this land? But when we listen to the argument, just like the man who said he lost in the court, we would have given it to the wrong people. Because those ones were very brilliant. They marshaled their points in a way that, in fact, I don't need God to hand over the land to them. But the older man, the elderly man, told them and said, let me tell you the truth, that land will not belong to your father. Your father was a wrestler, and everybody was afraid of him. He took that land by force and started farming on it, and nobody could talk. So please allow these people to take their land, whatever they say. And that's how the guy came back, told us. So we stood and said, we have discovered the truth. The land belonged to the other group. And that was it. They hugged themselves, even begging that they will give, if they will still want a little portion, about 2 or 3 plots, they can give to them. So that is it. So if you discover you cannot handle your case individually, you needed a body like ours, then we provide intelligent people among us who will go and assist and resolve the dispute. Do you understand? So that's how we do it. Thank you.
So at the point you discover it's over you, come to us. We'll do something about it.
And my last question goes to my friend that lost the case in court, Tikin Tekedo. You see, lawyers here will agree with me that court is where you have to go to when you have disputes, isn't it? But the lawyers also here will also agree that there is what is called alternative dispute resolution system. And most of the lawyers today are writing examination to be member of this alternative dispute arbitration system. You know, so because it's potent. It's a very potent way of solving issues, particularly when it relates to issues of heritage and inheritance. That is why in this part of the country, we can die for land. Do you know why? Because it's actually scarce. We don't have sufficient of it in this part of the world. Have you ever heard that Hausa fight because of land? You never hear that? Say there is land crisis, Hausa they are fighting over land. Eh?
But they forcefully take land.
Where? Here, Abi?
Yes.
In that place is sufficient.
Yes.
You can drive 2, 3, 4 hours, you don't be seeing land in the house.
Very, very.
It's sufficient, so they don't need. But because of, in our case, it's scarce, it becomes a major asset that we can lose generation for. But the point is that truth don't lie. So irrespective of how you marshal your case in court, the lawyers know that in court is evidence they work with. It may not be truth. Evidence available may not be truth. But it is what is seen. But truth don't lie. So my advice, my friend, is that seek for the truth. For those of us that have read Quran here, we tell you that seek knowledge to as far as to China. In those days, China was the farthest distance. So no matter how far knowledge is, seek it. And in the Bible, it says, study to show thyself what? Approved. A workman that needed not to be ashamed. Get information, sir. Get the relevant information. Then, if you feel that you are not justly giving your property in court, I'm sure there is an appeal window. But don't go into appeal without relevant information because they'll still defeat you. So that's why I say seek knowledge first, seek information, then take advantage of the appeal window. But be sure that you have relevant information first. Then you go on appeal. But no peace advocate will tell you go and kill people and take back the land. It's not going to happen. But you can take the land through the due process. It is yours if it is yours by what you are saying. But get all the relevant information before you can now seek for appeal. I don't also know whether the person that took it from your father was a wrestler like the other case. But check the children out whether they are also having the strength of wrestling. Thank you very much. I think that provides some answer, right? Yeah.
Applause for a wonderful presentation.
Is that a way of peace?
Okay, taking the case to the court was for peace. Like our international director said, everybody that goes to court, while he was teaching, while he was presenting his paper, the international director said, in Nigeria, big part of the world, anybody you take to court is your enemy forever because of wrong perception. He said anybody that takes you to court in the US or outside this country is because he doesn't want to take the law into his hands. So it is because you want peace. That's why you went to the court. But now that the court has decided, you either appeal or take the wisdom that he said. Look for an elder that can go to the elder and talk to them. And from there you cannot create space for your appeal. We believe that all will be well in Jesus' name. So thank you very much, sir, for that wonderful one. Let's put hands together for the first person one more time for a wonderful one. Yes, we're taking 3 papers, short, quick now, one after the other. And all 3 papers are on conflict resolution. Conflict resolution. I see that we are taking notes. Our time is fast spent. We should be out of here at most 4:30 today. We are here. It's a full day conference. It's a full day conference. And that's what we are here for. So that tomorrow we know what we are here for. Now the reason is because as an ambassador, you are representative. So now that you are being trained, we will require from you your representation from your corner. What have you done after the training? So please let's take notes. The first speaker in this session is it Mrs. Toyo? Is it Mr. Okay, Mr. Toyo? There was no indication here, only the ladies indicated. Let's put hands together for Mr. Toyo Daibo Esquire as he takes off on the paper conflict resolution.